Protecting your paint can be a challenge. I'm an aircraft technician, and we've got this little trick that I want to share with you that we use to help protect the paint on the aircraft, and it works just as well on bikes. You can use it on your car, boats, anything pretty much with a smooth surface that's been painted that you want to protect from any kind of abrasion, and I want to show it to you. So this is the magic stuff. It's very cheap. It's just a 3M plastic clear protective layer. You can get it off Amazon. You can buy it at different widths, length rolls. You can get it in larger sheets. This is actually what Harley will sell you when they actually have their packages for their bikes in different areas, like your lid covers to your saddlebags or your side covers. They'll basically just sell you this that's already cut to the shape that you want. But you can do it yourself. You can do it a lot cheaper, and you can do it with the stuff that you see here. A pair of scissors, a Sharpie, some cleaning rags, and then this non-streak cleaner, ZEP 40, is the stuff that I found that works the best. You can get this off Amazon too. A lot of times automotive shops will have it as well. And this really works well. So I want to show you how to do this. I've got some on my bike, and you'd never know it by looking at it, but if you get up close, you can see some of the protective layers that I've got. So there's one right here in this area, and there's one going across the back, and another one down the side here. This really helps to keep my seat from rubbing, and you can definitely see how the paint has been protected from that. Super easy to put on, definitely worthwhile. Another area that gets rubbed on these bikes is right here where your seat comes up and meets the tank. I've got a couple of there, and they work really well. Where I'm going to be doing it today is going to be on these side covers. So right on the top of here, you can probably see a little bit of wear, and it's from the seat, just where it sits when you sit down. It tends to rub a little bit there, and on both sides. So your first step that you want to do with this is clean up the surface. You definitely don't want to put these layers on there and then trap any dirt or crud underneath them. So use whatever cleaner you usually use. I just washed this bike. I just have a little bit of dust on it. So I'm going to use this ZEP 40 cleaner that I mentioned earlier just to clean it off. Stuff works really good. As long as your dirt isn't too heavy, it doesn't scratch. And just make sure it's nice and clean before you start. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the protective 3M plastic and just figure out exactly how much I'm going to need, what area I want to cover. About right here is kind of where the wear starts. And it doesn't come too far out. It only goes out about an inch or so. And then it seems to fade and doesn't wear much back here. So I pretty much just need a small square just in the front. So I'm going to mark out the length I need. So I'm going to go right about there. And then the width I'm going to need comes out to about here as its widest point. So I'm going to do about that. Now the trick with this stuff when you cut it is to never do square edges. If you do square edges, it tends to peel up and lift later on, and you'll be doing this a bunch, and your edges will always look awful. And they'll show up in the sun. When dirt collects there, it'll be certainly visible that you can see it. So when you cut this around your edges, I start off usually just by cutting it square to get it out of the roll. So once you've got your piece cut, you want to make sure that you've got clean hands. I'm just going to use some gloves because that's easiest, and I've got them here. But if you have dirty hands or the oils from your skin, it gets on the back of this coating, and then you'll always see your fingerprint on your paint. It doesn't look very good. So make sure you got nice clean hands or a good clean pair of gloves to put on before you do it. And then the next part is you're just going to take this ZEP 40 cleaner give it a good shake, spray a layer on, and then on your plastic, peel it off and be careful that you don't let it get stuck to other things. You're going to also spray on the back of the plastic. Now this sounds like it's not going to work, but just wait. So this layer, I'm going to slide up to where I want, to where it was getting banged up, and notice how easily it slides. Now when I got it where I want it to be, you take your cleaning rag or your finger, either one, hold it down and slowly squeeze out the bubbles. And you'll notice the more you squeeze out, the less easy it will start to slide. But it still will some. So you got some movement, some ability to kind of position it exactly right. You're just trying to get any bubbles out of there. Always make sure when you squeegee, you start in the middle and always work towards the outside. So now that it looks like I've worked most of the bubbles out, I'm just going to let it sit. Give it time to cure. Once the cleaner actually evaporates, is able to work itself out, check back every few minutes just to make sure no new bubbles have formed, but that will stick after a few hours of just letting it dry. If you don't let it dry, especially if you get it near a heat source like your engine or exhaust, you will get bubbles. So be careful on that and just be patient. Let it dry, and you'll be able to protect your paint really well. So now that I've let it sit for a few minutes, it's actually getting a few little bubbles that I can still just kind of squeegee out. And this is starting to really stick now, so I'm not really able to move it. You can do corners. If you do put this on a corner, just make sure that the corner doesn't go more than just one direction. So this corner right here, if I was laying it over this way, would be totally fine. But if I was trying to make it over this corner, which has multiple rounded directions, you're going to get a lot of air bubbles and you're going to have trouble with that. If you're going to start doing something like that, you need something that's already formed to that shape. That will help you a lot. So I can kind of show you how this stuff works. On the tour pack that I showed you earlier, I was getting a lot of wear, and you can see it here. Kind of all those marks in the middle. This is clean, but the wear from the cushion on the back coming up and down was really doing a number. And I ended up putting that protective layer on top. Now, where the seat makes contact, I did it early enough, and you can see how there are no wear marks. You can see them a little bit on the protective plastic that I put on, but running my finger over it definitely hasn't gone through the plastic yet. That plastic is pretty thick, works really well, keeps it protected for a long time. You'd never know it by looking at this bike, but I have 8 pieces of that protective plastic on this. So I've got 2 by the tank to protect the seat rubbing there. I've got 3 back here protecting the fender from the seat rubbing. And then I also have these side covers are covered with the plastic protective, and then the piece that we just put on here together. This stuff is nearly invisible. If you look really close and you know it's there, yes, you can see the edge, but it looks a whole lot better than your paint being worn out. So hope this helps you to protect your bike, your boat, your car, whatever you see fit to be able to put it on. Hope it helps you.